The conference room had gone silent for the 13th time that day. 12 highly paid experts had already tried, and failed. Charts covered the giant screen at the front of the room, translation errors blinked in red across dozens of documents. A multi-million-dollar international deal was collapsing right in front of the company's leadership. Lawyers whispered nervously. Executives stared at their laptops in frustration. The CEO rubbed his temples as the clock ticked louder and louder on the wall, and in the corner of the room, quietly mopping the marble floor, stood a janitor no one had noticed. No one expected the man in the faded uniform to change anything, but within the next few minutes, the entire room would turn toward him in stunned silence. Before we continue this incredible story, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes kindness and second chances matter, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories like this. The janitor's name was Daniel Reyes. Most people in the building barely knew he existed. They passed him every night as he pushed his cleaning cart down the quiet hallways of Orion Global Solutions, one of the most powerful international logistics companies in the country. To them, Daniel was just another maintenance worker, a man in his late 30s with tired eyes, worn shoes, and a quiet smile. But Daniel carried an entire life behind those quiet eyes. 5 years earlier, his world had fallen apart. His wife, Sophia, had been a brilliant linguist who worked as a translator for international aid organizations. She loved languages, cultures, and helping people understand one another. Daniel used to joke that she could walk into any country on earth and make friends within minutes. Then one winter evening, a sudden illness took her away. Just like that, leaving Daniel alone with their 6-year-old daughter, Maya. The grief had crushed him, but raising Maya became the one thing that kept him moving forward. Bills piled up quickly after Sophia's passing. Daniel lost his previous job when he had to take time off to care for his daughter. Without many options, he accepted a night janitor position at Orion. It was simple work, but it paid the rent. Every night after putting Maya to sleep, Daniel would leave their small apartment and work until morning. What no one at Orion knew was that Daniel had once shared Sophia's passion for languages. During their marriage, the two of them had spent years learning together: Spanish, English, French, Mandarin, Arabic, German, Portuguese, and Italian. They practiced at dinner, watched foreign movies together, and sometimes turned grocery shopping into a language game. Sophia used to laugh and say they had created their own little international school at home. After she passed, Daniel stopped speaking most of those languages. They reminded him too much of her. So he quietly buried that part of his life and became invisible. On the morning everything changed, Orion's headquarters buzzed with tension. A massive contract negotiation with a coalition of European and Asian shipping companies had reached its final stage. If Orion secured the deal, it would expand the company into 3 new global markets. If they failed, billions could disappear. The problem was language. The coalition's representatives had sent a last-minute document written in a complex mixture of French legal terminology, Mandarin business clauses, and German regulatory references. Orion's team of translators had tried to interpret it all night, but something wasn't right. Several clauses seemed contradictory. Others contained idioms that didn't translate cleanly. One misinterpretation could lead to disastrous legal consequences. 12 experts had reviewed the document. 12 specialists with advanced degrees and years of experience, and still no one could confidently confirm the meaning of the final contract terms. The CEO, Robert Whitmore, had built Orion into a global powerhouse through sheer determination, but now he sat at the head of the table feeling the pressure of hundreds of employees depending on him. Across the table, the legal team argued quietly. Deadlines loomed. Phones vibrated with messages from international partners demanding answers. Then someone noticed the janitor. Daniel had been cleaning quietly along the wall while the meeting unfolded. He wasn't trying to listen, but languages have a strange way of catching your ear when you know them well. A phrase in French, a technical term in German, a Mandarin expression that didn't quite match the translation displayed on the screen. Daniel paused. Something was wrong. He kept mopping, trying to ignore it, but the mistake was obvious to him, and it changed everything. For several minutes, Daniel wrestled with himself. He was just a janitor. These people were experts. What if he was wrong? What if he embarrassed himself? But then he remembered Sophia. She used to say something whenever they studied languages together. Understanding someone's words can change the world. Daniel slowly set the mop aside. His heart pounded. He raised his hand slightly. No one noticed. Finally, he cleared his throat softly. The room turned toward him with mild confusion. Daniel spoke carefully, his voice respectful. He explained that the Mandarin clause on the screen didn't mean conditional delay the way the translators had written it. It actually meant temporary logistical pause pending regulatory clearance. Then he pointed to the French paragraph and explained how the legal phrase connected to the German compliance section. Suddenly, the entire contract structure made sense. The clauses weren't contradicting each other at all. They were referencing different shipping phases across multiple jurisdictions. For a moment, no one spoke. The executives stared at him. The translators blinked. The legal team leaned forward. Then the CEO slowly stood. Robert Whitmore looked at the quiet janitor as if seeing him for the first time. He asked Daniel how he knew all that. Daniel hesitated before answering. He explained that his wife had loved languages, and they had learned many together. 8 of them, actually. The room fell silent again. One of the translators quickly checked the Mandarin phrase, then another reviewed the French section. Within minutes, the experts confirmed what Daniel had said. The interpretation was correct, perfectly correct. The confusion that had paralyzed the entire negotiation suddenly dissolved. The correct translation allowed Orion to respond immediately to the coalition. Within hours, the deal was finalized. A contract worth nearly $3 billion. And it had been saved by a janitor. Word spread through the company faster than anyone expected. Employees who had passed Daniel in the hall for years suddenly looked at him differently. Some were embarrassed they had never even learned his name. Others were simply amazed. The CEO asked Daniel to meet with him privately later that afternoon. Daniel arrived nervously, still wearing his janitor uniform. Robert Whitmore greeted him with a firm handshake. Instead of asking about the translation first, he asked about Daniel's daughter. Daniel spoke about Maya with quiet pride. He explained how she loved drawing pictures of her mother, even though she barely remembered her. He talked about working nights so he could take her to school every morning. Whitmore listened carefully. Then he said something Daniel never expected to hear. He told Daniel that Orion didn't just need translators. They needed people who understood communication across cultures, people who saw meaning beyond simple words, people like him. Whitmore offered Daniel a new position within the company's international relations team. Training included, full salary, daytime hours. Daniel was speechless. For years he had believed his life had shrunk down to survival. Work, bills, parenting, grief. But suddenly, a door had opened. One he never expected to walk through again. The weeks that followed changed everything. Daniel studied hard during his training, determined not to waste the opportunity. His natural ability with languages quickly impressed the entire department. But what truly stood out wasn't just his knowledge, it was his humility. Daniel treated everyone with the same quiet respect he had shown while pushing his cleaning cart. From interns to executives, people noticed the difference, and slowly, the invisible janitor became one of the most valued voices in the company. But the most important moment came one evening at home. Daniel sat with Maya at their small kitchen table. She had just finished a drawing of their family. 3 figures holding hands, her father, and her mother, smiling from the sky above them. Daniel told her about his new job. Maya listened carefully. Then she asked something that made his eyes fill with tears. She asked if Mom would be proud. Daniel looked at the drawing again and nodded, very slowly. Yes, she would. Before we reach the end of this story, we have a small request for you. If this story reminds you that every person has hidden strength and unseen struggles, write the word respect in the comments. Because sometimes the people the world overlooks are the ones capable of changing everything. A year later, Orion's headquarters looked the same from the outside. But inside, something had shifted. Employees greeted Daniel warmly when he walked through the building. The cleaning staff were treated with more kindness and respect than ever before. And on the wall near the executive offices hung a framed photo from the day Orion signed its historic international contract. Standing beside the CEO was Daniel Reyes, not as a janitor, but as the company's director of global communications. A quiet reminder that greatness can appear in the most unexpected places, and that sometimes, all it takes is one brave moment to speak up. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who believes every person deserves a second chance, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful, real-life inspired stories. Because somewhere out there right now, another quiet hero might just be waiting for the world to finally notice them.